The man who killed 10 people at a Boulder King Soopers will spend the rest of his life in prison. That sentence came after a jury convicted him this afternoon on all counts.
Jury did not buy the defense argument that the shooter was insane on March 22nd, 2021. They deliberated about 5 hours. Kevin Vaughn from our 9 News Investigates team has been in court every day of this trial. Joins us now from Boulder. Kevin, this was a long time coming for the victims' families.
Kyle and Kim, this case was delayed repeatedly over questions about the shooter's mental health. Today, finally, those left behind got what they'd been hoping for. The day that changed all their lives, the day a gunman murdered 10 people in a Boulder grocery store, was 3.5 years ago yesterday.
All right, please be seated.
For those left behind, seeing the killer face justice took 3.5 hours today in a packed courtroom.
It's our understanding that the jury has reached a unanimous verdict. Is that correct?
After 5 hours of deliberation,
Jury verdict count number 1 as to Nevin Stanisic. We, the jury, find the defendant, Ahmad Alyssa, guilty of count number 1, murder in the first degree.
guilty on 10 counts of first-degree murder.
Guilty of count number 2.
Guilty on 45 other charges. And then,
Nevin is not just another statistic of people who have lost their lives in a mass shooting. Nevin was also a person. Nevin had a life that he loved.
they tried to find the words to describe their pain and loss.
I was numb to the majesty of the Flatirons, a gorgeous sunrise or sunset. In fact, I did that. I couldn't cry. I couldn't feel joy or be happy. I couldn't get angry. There were days when I couldn't even get out of bed.
My mom, Lynn, was one of the coolest human beings I think I will ever know in my time here on Earth. And thinking about that and thinking about what to say here today.
So I could have been right by Eric's side. I told myself he would still be alive if I had been there to save him.
Finally, judgment.
Count 2, murder in the first degree, as it relates to Kevin. Life sentence, no possibility of parole.
10 consecutive life sentences, plus 1,334 years.
Court's in recess.
Once the judge handed down that first sentence of life in prison without parole, she effectively guaranteed that the shooter would never again be free. But the DA pushed her to issue the maximum sentence on every single count and to run all of them consecutively. That's how we ended up with this 10 life sentences and 1,334 years. Kyle and Kim?
Kevin, we know you've been there every single day, and not only was this painful today, but the firsthand accounts and the video used in court was really hard to watch. You experienced this like the members of the jury. It's got to be really hard on them.
Kim, the jurors were extremely attentive throughout this trial, and that included to that difficult video. All of the killings, but a couple of them were captured by surveillance cameras or body cameras, and there was an 8-minute compilation put together by the prosecution as part of their case, and the jury asked to see that and watch that again today during deliberations.
Yeah, you talk about service, right? Like they performed a service to the community by watching that, and Kevin provided service by being there every single day to tell us what was going on. Kevin Vaughn, thank you. So some of the families have been outspoken over the last 3 years about their experiences, and others were silent until today.
They told the judge how much loss and grief they have been experiencing since that day. With more from Boulder, here is Jeremy Hahola.
It's impossible to capture the scope of how many people have been impacted by the shooting in Boulder.
No parent should have to bury their child 6 feet underground.
One by one, so many loved ones came to speak for those who can't speak anymore, like the mother of Terry Liker.
Life after Terry has been devastating, but we are not devastated. Love is forever.
Bob Olds, the uncle of Ricky Olds, had words directly for the shooter.
I hope when you are sitting in your cell, you are tormented and haunted by what you did to all the victims. I hope you rot in hell.
So many profound words, especially from the mother of police officer Eric Talley, who recounted being on the phone with her son as the shooting call came in. It would be the last time they would speak.
And he said, "Mom, I'm dispatched. I gotta go." And I said, "Eric, be careful." He said, "Always. I'll call you on the way home. I love you, Mom." And I came back with our standard, and I love you more.
Talley is survived by 7 children. His daughter Madeline was 16 at the time.
My dad wasn't there when I earned my license. He wasn't there when I got my first job. He wasn't there for my 18th birthday. He wasn't there to interrogate my first boyfriend like he had always told me he would.
Outside of court, the families gathered to share more words, including the sister of Officer Talley.
He went in there to protect people, and he went in there to fire a bullet into that killer's head. And the trajectory of that bullet is finished today in the justice of what these people have done.
It has been 1,281 days since that shooting. That is 3.5 years of court hearings and frustrating delays for many of the families impacted here. And while this court case is over, this tragedy will never end for many of those grieving families. In Boulder, Jeremy Hohola, 9 News.
The shooter's older brother says his family wished police would have killed him on the day of the shooting.
9 News reporter Kelly Rinke spoke with the brother after the verdict.
A jury's decision brought finality to a case that's dragged on for more than 3 years. All that time, the family of the shooter, who killed 10 people at a grocery store, has stayed quiet, never speaking publicly about what they knew before terror came to a King Soopers. Guilty verdicts Monday changed their mind.
How surprised were you when he was arrested?
We were crazy surprised. We did not believe it.
There was no indication that he would do something like that.
Not at all. Not at all.
This man didn't share his name, but told 9 News he was the shooter's older brother.
You were all living in the same house.
Exactly. So we were in the front line. If we knew that he was dangerous, then he was going to be dangerous to us first before anyone else. We did not know anything about sickness.
The family from Syria testified during trial the man's personality began changing a few years before he opened fire at King Soopers. They said he was withdrawn, paranoid. We now know he has schizophrenia, but a jury found he still knew the difference between right and wrong.
So as he's changing, he started to become normal to us, his family. If we didn't know that he was sick in a sickness called schizophrenia, we would have done everything to stop him.
Prosecutors described a man who plotted tragedy, building an arsenal of weapons inside the family's house.
That's what we did as his family at the beginning, and we wished him death. We wished that the cops have shot him and killed him. Because at the same time, you know, as we love him, people love their loved ones too. And there was 10 people died.
What remains unclear is why the prosecution never offered a motive. Kelly Rinke, 9 News.